The gospel is not enough. The gospel is not enough. This is what I call introduction by shock and awe. It's an introduction that you can use from time to time to come up with some shocking statement, some statement that makes people want to get out of their chair and argue with you and fight with you and disagree with you. And I want to say to you, the gospel is not enough. And are you ready to fight with me? You ready to argue with me? You ready to talk with me about that? I hope you are, because that was my desired outcome. Here's our verse. Before you want to argue with me, you argue with Scripture. 1 Thessalonians 2, 7 and 8. Just as a nursing mother cares for her children. We could do a whole teaching on that one right there. In fact, we're going to do a whole teaching on there. And the bottom line of that teaching is never try to teach people you have not cared for. Just as a nursing mother cares for her children, so we cared for you. Because we loved you so much, we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel, because the gospel, the information, the truth was not enough. We were delighted to share with you not only the gospel, but our lives as well. And the big idea is this: never try to teach people you have not cared for. Principle from Mark 3:14. He appointed 12 that he might be with them. This is what the Navigators call the with them principle. And it is an excellent book. 3 million copies of this book sold by Robert Coleman. Having called his men, Jesus made a practice of being with them. This was the essence of his training program, just letting his disciples follow him. When one stops to think about it, this was an incredibly simple way of doing it. Jesus had no formal school, no seminaries, no outlined course of study, no periodic membership classes in which he enrolled his followers. None of these highly organized procedures, considered so necessary today, entered into his ministry. Amazing as it may seem, all Jesus did to teach these men his way was to draw them close to himself. He was his own school and curriculum. And if you would make disciples of the people that you would teach, you've got to be with them. You've got to love them. Here's our principle. Never try to teach people you have not cared for. Never try to teach people that you don't love. People rarely learn. People rarely learn from people that they do not believe love them. And if your people do not believe that you love them, and if you do not spend time with them as Jesus spent time with his people, you will not make disciples of those people. Now, there is a difference between a principle and an application. And when you teach, you do well to have the passage. What is the principle that comes out of the passage? And sometimes it's just a paraphrase of the passage. And then we want to have an application from the passage, because we don't want to just make smarter sinners. There is a difference between the principle and the application. And the application I would invite you to embrace is this: have a member in your home once a year. Every member in your group, I would invite you to invite them into your home, or go to lunch with them, or to supper with them, or do something with them once a year. Each member once a year. That'd be a good thing for you to do. Another application you might consider is go to lunch with a different member every Sunday. If this is a Sunday morning group, if it's truthfully, this is a little easier done in home groups, because typically we get together for a meal and we're spending time together all the time. And the whole session is 2 or 3 hours, rather than a Sunday school kind of session where we typically have an hour together. But if it's a Sunday school kind of session, a Sunday morning kind of session, I would encourage you to go to lunch with a different member every week. And over time, you're going to deepen your relationship with them, and you're going to have more of a profound impact on your people, because you do what Jesus did, and that is you spend time with them. Could I ask you a favor? And the favor is, like this video. If you like it, click that like button. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more episodes that'll be coming up, and share this video on Facebook or other avenues.